Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really strange story that sounds like something out of a fairy tale. Back in 1998, in Tianjin, China, locals reported something unbelievable. A dragon-like creature falling from the sky during a wild storm. Picture this: a night filled with thick, swirling mist and bright, flashing lightning that made everything look surreal. In the middle of the storm, people claimed to see a huge, dark shape moving quickly across the sky, something that reminded them of the dragons from old Chinese legends. Was it a miraculous event, a rare natural phenomenon twisted by the storm, or just the result of fear and imagination running wild? These are the big questions we're going to explore. In this video, we're not just going to tell you what happened, we're going to dig deeper into the mystery. We'll look at eyewitness stories, review different scientific ideas, and even consider how the rich traditions of Chinese folklore might have shaped people's memories of that night. It's a story where the known facts mix with a lot of unanswered questions, leaving us with a big gap, a space where history and myth blend together. So, join me as we step into this strange, foggy world of mystery. As we revisit that unforgettable night in Tianjin, I invite you to question what you think you know about the world. What if, amid the chaos of that storm, there was more than just weather at play? Stay with me as we unpack this modern legend piece by piece, and let's see if we can find a little truth hidden in all the fog and shadows. Let's take a step back and look at the roots of this mystery. In Chinese culture, dragons have always been more than just creatures in a fairy tale. They're a part of everyday life and ancient history. Long ago, dragons were seen as symbols of strength, good fortune, and the balance of nature. They weren't feared like monsters in Western stories. Instead, they were respected and often considered guardians of water, weather, and even the destiny of emperors. Historical records, like those found in the Book of Later Han, mention sightings of dragons as far back as 80 CE. For example, ancient texts tell of 8 yellow dragons appearing in the Xiang River, an event believed to be an omen of prosperity and change. These records were not written in a dry, factual style like modern textbooks. Instead, they were filled with vivid imagery and poetic language that captured the imagination of the people. Over time, these accounts grew into legends, with each generation adding their own layers of meaning and mystery. The philosophical side of this mystery is just as interesting. Eastern traditions, especially in Chinese thought, see the world as a tapestry woven with symbols and signs. In philosophies like Taoism and even Buddhism, nature isn't random. It's full of patterns and hidden connections. When something unusual happens, like the reported falling dragon in Tianjin, it's not just an odd weather event, it's seen as a message or a sign that invites us to look deeper into the workings of the universe. Think about it. Our ancestors didn't have the technology to record every event in cold, hard data. Instead, they relied on stories and symbols to explain the world around them. When they saw something out of the ordinary, a strange light in the sky, unusual animal behavior, or even a sudden change in the weather, they interpreted it through the lens of their rich cultural heritage. The dragon, with its powerful symbolism, became the perfect figure to embody these mysterious events. In modern times, while scientists might explain the Tianjin incident as a natural occurrence like a tornado or waterspout, there's still a deeper layer of meaning if you look at it from a philosophical perspective. The idea that extraordinary events carry hidden messages is a common thread in many ancient traditions. It suggests that the universe isn't just a collection of random events, but a living, breathing entity filled with wonder and secrets waiting to be uncovered. So, when we examine these historical records and philosophical ideas, we begin to understand why a story like the Tianjin dragon falling incident resonates so deeply. It isn't just about whether a dragon really fell from the sky, it's about the way we interpret the world. It's about connecting with a long line of tradition that sees the natural world as full of magic and mystery, where every unusual event has a deeper, often symbolic meaning. In essence, by exploring these ancient texts and cultural beliefs, we're not just chasing a legend, we're tapping into a way of seeing the world that has inspired countless generations to find beauty and meaning in the unknown. Let's carry this understanding forward as we dig even deeper into the core aspects of this fascinating incident. Now, let's break down what might have actually happened that night in Tianjin. Picture this: a violent storm is raging, lightning flashes across the sky, and in the midst of it all, villagers claim to have seen a huge, dragon-like shape moving among the clouds. But what do these details really tell us? First off, let's consider the eyewitness accounts. Several villagers described seeing a dark, imposing figure that resembled a dragon. Its shape, its movement, even the way it seemed to glow in the intermittent lightning. When you're caught in a storm, your senses can play tricks on you. Imagine trying to catch a clear image during a heavy downpour while your heart is pounding. That's exactly the kind of scenario where a simple weather anomaly could be mistaken for something far more mysterious. Could it be that fear and adrenaline combined with the cultural image of dragons led people to see what they wanted to see? Next, we have the physical evidence. Some locals reported finding reddish scales and even a live snapping turtle near the scene. Now, these pieces of evidence add an interesting twist. The scales might sound like something out of a myth, but they could also be parts of known animals that got torn apart by the storm's force. Similarly, a snapping turtle is a real creature, one that might have been caught up by a strong vortex. Think about how sometimes during heavy storms, debris, or even small animals are swept up by powerful winds, only to fall back to Earth later. This natural phenomenon, sometimes called raining animals, has been documented in various parts of the world. So, is it possible that what the villagers witnessed was a mix of natural weather effects and the mind's tendency to see familiar shapes? Let's also examine the role of local folklore. In Chinese culture, dragons are not just myths, they're part of everyday life. Symbols of power, good fortune, and even weather control. For centuries, people have believed in the magic of these creatures, and stories of dragon sightings are woven into the fabric of local history. When something unusual happens, like a strange light in the sky or odd sounds during a storm, it's not uncommon for the mind to interpret these signs as a message from the dragon. So, in a way, the incident in Tianjin isn't just a random event. It's deeply connected to a rich tapestry of cultural beliefs and expectations. On the other hand, we have scientific explanations. Some meteorologists suggest that what was seen could have been a tornado or a waterspout, a swirling column of air that can pick up objects, including small animals and debris, and carry them for a while before dropping them back to the ground. This theory fits with the details reported by the villagers. A sudden, dramatic event accompanied by physical remnants. Imagine a waterspout picking up bits of vegetation, small animals, or even chunks of soil, and then depositing them elsewhere. It creates a natural collage that might look very mysterious in the right light. So, while the idea of a dragon falling from the sky captures the imagination, the real story might be a fascinating intersection of nature, culture, and human perception. It's like trying to solve a puzzle where each piece is influenced by both scientific facts and ancient legends. What might appear as a supernatural event could very well be a natural phenomenon viewed through a lens colored by centuries of myth. By looking at the event from both angles, the eyewitness accounts mixed with natural explanations and cultural symbolism, we begin to see that the truth is often a blend of facts and interpretation. The mystery of Tianjin isn't simply about proving or debunking a dragon. It's about understanding how we perceive and remember extraordinary events. In this sense, the incident invites us to question not just what happened, but how our beliefs shape our reality. Now that we've set the stage, let's dig even deeper into the mysteries and contradictions surrounding the Tianjin incident. Beyond the initial eyewitness accounts and basic natural explanations, there are several layers of interpretation that reveal just how our perceptions can shape reality. One of the most intriguing aspects of this story is how easily it blends fact with folklore. When you listen to the accounts from that fateful night, you hear not just a description of a storm, but echoes of legends passed down through generations. Locals have grown up with tales of dragons, majestic beings that govern the rain, wind, and fate. So, when a strange dark shape appears in the sky, it isn't surprising that many instinctively see a dragon. But here lies a common misunderstanding. Our minds are wired to fill in gaps using familiar stories, sometimes transforming ordinary natural events into something far more extraordinary. Consider the role of weather phenomena like waterspouts. Scientifically, these swirling columns of air are capable of lifting and depositing objects, creating an unexpected mix of debris that can seem almost otherworldly. But when such an event occurs under the stress of a violent storm, our ability to objectively observe what is happening is compromised. The flicker of lightning, the roar of thunder, and the overwhelming force of nature can conspire to make even mundane occurrences appear magical. This is where our cultural background steps in. For people steeped in the lore of dragons, a waterspout may not simply be a meteorological event. It becomes a dramatic performance of ancient power. Let's also consider the possibility of optical illusions and the influence of collective memory. In the chaos of a storm, details can easily be misremembered or exaggerated. When multiple witnesses describe a dragon's claw in the sky, it's not necessarily because a dragon was present, but because the collective expectation of what a dragon should look like influences what people see. This phenomenon is supported by psychological studies that show how strong imagery and cultural symbols can shape perception. It's like when you're told a story over and over, eventually you start to believe it, even if the original facts were much simpler. Digging even deeper, we find that some modern investigations have attempted to connect this incident to other similar cases across history. The 1934 Yingkou event, for example, shares many similarities with the Tianjin case. Both feature dramatic weather, sudden appearances, and tangible remnants like bones or scales. Yet, in Yingkou, later scientific analysis suggested a misinterpreted beached whale. This recurring theme across different events suggests that our natural world has a way of creating conditions that, when filtered through the lens of myth, become much more than they appear. It raises a fascinating question. Do we see dragons because they truly exist, or because our minds have been trained by centuries of stories to expect them when the skies darken? Another layer of analysis comes from comparing the incident with modern-day hoaxes and media sensationalism. In today's world, where digital images and viral videos can be easily manipulated, it's increasingly challenging to distinguish between genuine mystery and deliberate fabrication. Some incidents, like the 2007 video hoax in Gaoyu, show how technology can blur the line between reality and fantasy. While the Tianjin case was treated earnestly by the community and local authorities at the time, the later existence of hoaxes in similar contexts only deepens the mystery. This contrast forces us to examine the credibility of every piece of evidence, no matter how compelling it may initially seem. What emerges from this deep dive is a picture of a complex interplay between natural events, human perception, and cultural storytelling. The Tianjin incident is not just about whether a dragon really fell from the sky. It's about how our beliefs, memories, and the inherent drama of nature combine to create stories that persist long after the event itself has faded from memory. These layers of meaning, contradictions, and diverse interpretations invite us to question not only what we see, but how we see it. In exploring these deeper elements, we uncover not only the mysteries of that night, but also the timeless nature of myth-making itself. The tale of Tianjin challenges us to think about the power of stories and how they help us make sense of the world, even when the truth might be simpler than the legend. It's a reminder that sometimes the real magic lies in the way we interpret and live our experiences. Now that we've unraveled the layers of mystery behind the Tianjin incident, let's talk about how we can use these insights in our daily lives. Sometimes extraordinary events, like a dragon-like figure in a storm, aren't just random occurrences. They can serve as reminders that there's always more beneath the surface of everyday life. Here are some practical ways you can apply these lessons. Imagine every unusual event as a little nudge to slow down and reflect. When you experience something unexpected, a strange weather phenomenon, a sudden change in your surroundings, or even an odd coincidence, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what could this be trying to tell me? This isn't about expecting magic to happen, but rather about being open to the idea that every moment holds a lesson. Our ancestors believed that nature communicated with us through signs, and by tuning into these subtle hints, you can learn to see the world with a fresh perspective. One way to start is with mindfulness. Next time you're outside or even just sitting quietly, take a few deep breaths and really observe your environment. Notice the colors, sounds, and movements around you. These simple moments of observation can help you appreciate the beauty and mystery of life. By being fully present, you might catch small details, a shift in the wind, the way light dances on a surface, that remind you of nature's hidden rhythms. Over time, this practice can make you more attuned to the small wonders in your everyday life. Journaling is another powerful tool. After encountering something out of the ordinary, try writing down your thoughts and feelings. Describe what you saw, how it made you feel, and any ideas that popped into your head. This isn't just about keeping a record. It's a way to connect the dots between your experiences and your inner world. Often, patterns emerge over time, offering you insights into your personal journey. You might even discover that these mysterious moments have helped guide you through challenging times or inspired new ways of thinking. You can also incorporate simple rituals into your routine. This doesn't have to be elaborate. A quiet moment with a candle or a few incense sticks can set the stage for reflection. These small practices can help create a sense of sacred space in your life, reminding you that there is value in pausing and acknowledging the unknown. Rituals connect us to traditions that have celebrated the mysteries of life for centuries, and by participating in them, you keep that ancient wisdom alive in your own modern experience. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of community. Sharing your experiences with friends or joining groups that explore these mysteries can be incredibly enriching. Conversations about unusual events and spiritual insights not only broaden your perspective, but also remind you that you're not alone on this journey. By discussing and debating these topics, you may uncover ideas that you hadn't considered before, deepening your understanding of both the world and yourself. In essence, the tale of the Tianjin incident isn't just a story to be analyzed. It's a call to embrace the unknown, to question, and to be more mindful. By applying these practical methods, you can transform everyday moments into opportunities for growth, reflection, and a deeper connection to the mysteries that surround us. In wrapping up our exploration of the Tianjin incident, we're left with more than just unanswered questions. We're left with a deeper appreciation for the mystery woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. What does it mean when an extraordinary event challenges our understanding of nature? Is it simply a quirk of the weather, or does it speak to something more profound within us? Today, we journeyed through a story that mixed raw eyewitness experiences with scientific curiosity and the timeless allure of folklore. We saw how a violent storm and the human tendency to interpret unusual sights through the lens of cultural legends can create a narrative that feels almost magical. The reports of a dragon falling from the sky may, in the end, be explained by natural phenomena like tornadoes or waterspouts. Yet, the very act of interpreting these events reminds us that there is beauty and wonder in seeking meaning beyond the obvious. This mystery is not just about proving or debunking a phenomenon. It's a reminder that life is full of gaps waiting to be filled with our curiosity and imagination. As we conclude, I invite you to reflect on how your own perceptions shape the reality around you. What if every inexplicable moment in your life held a hidden message, urging you to look closer, think deeper, and embrace the unknown? Remember, the true value of this journey lies in its ability to awaken a sense of wonder and encourage us to question what we take for granted. Whether or not a dragon ever truly fell from the sky, the story invites us to explore, to learn, and to remain open to the mysteries that make life so rich and unpredictable. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you believe happened that night in Tianjin? Share your ideas and let's continue this conversation together. Until next time, keep questioning, stay curious, and remember that sometimes the magic is in the mystery itself.